everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. The holiday season is upon us, and with it comes with a whirlwind of festivities, family gatherings, and festival feasts. While this time of the year can bring joy and excitement, it also can wreak havoc on our hormone health. Protecting our hormone is crucial, especially during and after the holidays. So, in our recent political climate, stress levels are at an all-time high, which can also significantly impact our hormone balance. The constant barrage of news, social media debates, and polarizing opinions can keep our stress hormone elevated, throwing our entire endocrine system out of whack. Adding this to sort of the typical holiday indulges like processed foods, sugary treats, and alcohol, you've got a recipe for hormone chaos. So these factors combined can lead to mood swings, weight gain, fatigue, and a host of other unpleasant symptoms. But fear not, there are steps we can take to keep our bodies healthy and our hormones in check during this holiday season. That's why we're so glad to chat on IG Live today with Dr. Ami Patel, the Holistic Hormone Pharmacist. During this live, we're going to discuss how to avoid overeating during the holidays, dealing with guilt, tending to your hormones during the season, and so much more. I'm going to... Hello. Hi, Dr. Patel.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our conversation.
Yes. I know this could potentially go over half an hour, but we're all good. We're all good. We'll go with the flow.
Sounds good.
Before we start to talk about how to avoid, holiday hormone chaos, tell us a little bit about yourself, like how you became a pharmacist and also hormone and PCOS consultant and medical advisor.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, so my journey started with my own struggles with my hormone health and PCOS a little over 11 years ago at this point. Actually, probably longer because I struggled with irregular periods for many years and I tried to get a proper diagnosis, but I was told various different things. Like, I went to three different doctors. The first doctor said that oh, it's just stress. It'll get better with time. That didn't happen. And then the second doctor said that, oh, like just take birth control for 3 months to reset your cycle. That obviously didn't work. And then finally, I went to a third doctor. She did diagnose me with PCOS. And at that time, I was finishing pharmacy school, but she didn't tell me too much about it. She just said, oh, just take birth control. It'll help regulate your period. And if you struggle to have kids later, we can give you more medication for that. And like, despite finishing pharmacy school at the time, we didn't learn much about women's hormones health or birth control, sadly. So I just like blindly followed that advice for 7 years. And then at that time, I started to notice that I was having symptoms again. Like, I was having difficulty losing weight, hair loss, acne was coming back, mood swings, seasonal depression. And I once again tried to get help from the Western healthcare system, but they once again told me like, "Oh, well, why do you want to come off birth control if you don't want to have kids right now?" And basically, I finally, I started to question myself, even though I was a working pharmacist for many years. But when multiple doctors are telling you that, I was just like, maybe I do need to stay on it. But finally, I found a doctor that supported my decision to come off of it. So I transitioned off of birth control, and then I started to manage my lifestyle to improve my PCOS symptoms. And throughout it all, it was a very lonely journey, and coming from a South Asian background, like, everything is so taboo. So I just wanted to share my journey on YouTube and Instagram, as well as raise awareness about it because it is so common. And as a pharmacist, I saw a lot of that misinformation. So to clear that up. So that's how my journey started back in like 3 years ago at this point. And since then, people started to reach out to me for support because they also weren't getting the help they needed in the Western healthcare system. And so that's how I started providing consulting services for women that want to get their period back, come off of birth control, improve their periods, or are trying to conceive. So yeah, That's the whole, well, Clip Notes version of my story.
I mean, it's sorry you had to experience that, but I think it's amazing for the work you do now helping others, because I would think it's even harder for other people without this professional background. Like, being a pharmacist, you already kind of versed in understanding drug, like a potential impact and the health related stuff versus others who have like no background. So they would even follow this type of advice from Western medicine, even if it's not working, probably a lot longer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, I work in the Western healthcare system and I'm already having like this many challenges finding a doctor that understands, navigating insurance, navigating appointments, navigating like how to have conversations in the appointment. And so, that only makes me like empathetic towards my clients and supporting them to ask the right questions for what they need as well.
It sounds like your health journey also like made you a much better provider for your clients.
Yeah, I would say that because I really understand what they're going through, right? It's like one thing when a doctor tells you something or a provider in general tells you something, but it's like it's different when they've experienced it and then they're telling you. And they can tell you like realistic solutions, right? Like uh clients come to me and they've been told, oh, just like eat less food, work out more, but I know like that's not enough. And it's like I've tried that myself and that hasn't worked because we have it, which we'll dive into the hormones, right? But yeah, so it's like I understand what they're going through.
Now it's like the holidays. Like, why do you think so many people, struggle with their hormone health during the holidays?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is like stress, travel really throws things off, right? People travel for the holidays, the stress of hosting or attending lots of social gatherings, and even the types of food that we eat around the holidays is not food that we may eat on a regular basis. So all of that can come into play. And then, getting out of routine with our sleep or movement. So a lot of different factors can impact us during this time.
Yeah, you had you mentioned in a reel that during kind of like during your own experience, you to feel like guilt while partaking some of the holiday festivities. Why is that?
Yeah, I think sometimes in the past that has happened because it's like we have these misconceptions maybe that there's good food and bad food, right? And then you like indulge in maybe too many sweets or fried food, and then that makes you feel like bad about yourself, like, oh, why did I eat this? I don't have self-control. So that's sometimes what has happened before.
Makes sense. But now let's coming to the solutions part.
Yeah.
You promote the heal methods for hormones. Like, please break that down for us. What is the heal
Yeah.
method, or like what are the components?
Yes. So HEAL is the method I use to support my clients and the philosophy of my consulting that I use to help them. So HEAL stands for Holistic Empowerment, Alignment, and Liberation. So holistic, the H means that we look at not just like diet and exercise, but also those two factors in addition to movement, sleep, and mindset. So that's the holistic approach. And then once you manage that, you feel empowered about your health. And once you have your health, you can bring that empowerment into the other areas of your life. And we do it in a way, A, which stands for alignment, a way that's aligned with your hormones as well as your beliefs. Like, for example, someone who's South Asian, I'm vegetarian and I have been my whole life, but sometimes when I was trying to get help, I was constantly told like, oh, like you need to start eating meat or you can't eat rice or you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm like, that just doesn't sit well with me. I'm not going to do that. And so, I work with my clients in a way that's aligned with what works for them and what they enjoy doing, right? Like PCOS and hormones, it's a lifelong thing. I'm not gonna not eat my favorite foods for the
Right.
rest of my life. That's just not realistic. So that's where the alignment comes in. And then L stands for liberation. So once you've improved your lifestyle, you feel empowered in a way that's aligned, then you become liberated from unwanted hormone imbalance symptoms.
I love it. I was just like quickly writing it down. Holistic empowerment, alignment, and liberation, step by step. I love it.
Yes, to
Uh,
heal your hormones.
yeah.
Yep.
Talk a little more about like how you believe empowerment can actually help with hormones. Like, what is empowerment to you? Like, how can someone experience it during their healing journey?
Yeah, I think that comes with like, I think having your hormones balance can lead to empowerment and vice versa. Like to get to that point, you need to have the proper knowledge, and that leads to empowerment, right? Because with the knowledge, you know the correct steps to take that will actually get you the results. And then once you have those results, you start feeling better about yourself. Like you start having energy, you start thinking clearly, you start having more confidence, and you start having like, a better relation the quality of your relationships improves, right? Your quality of work improves. So that's why I believe like once you have your health, like everything else in your life improves, but without your health, we really struggle to kind of get through the day to day.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like once you're on this positive spin cycle, then you just get more and more positive versus like the other way around that okay, your hormones not in check, you have brain fog, you don't make good decisions, and then it actually gets worse versus now it's like all positive.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
what role does do like a mindset and intention play in your hormone health?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I feel like mindset is a big thing that plays a role in it, but we don't talk about it enough because honestly, like the thoughts we have in our head are the things that keep us like accountable, motivated, and consistent, which is all necessary for this lifelong journey. It's not a sprint where we're just, trying to do something in 30 days and then hope that it lasts forever because that's not how it works with our hormones. So yeah, with mindset, like some things I work on with my clients is having positive self-talk. And, from my own experience, like I had negative self-talk for a majority of my life. I was like, my worst own critic, always striving to be a perfectionist. And like, obviously, I'm not going to feel good about myself because I had these like unrealistic, perfect standards that I held myself to, which is not realistic for anyone, right? And then it's like the things that I would say to myself, like, I would never talk that way to like a loved one. So then it's like, why do we talk that way to ourselves? So some of those things, like, that's what I work with my clients on is shifting the words that they say to themselves to help them build that positive self-talk, become their own cheerleader. And yeah, and that's like really the core of everything because that's the thing that's going to get you to want to eat well, to get you to do that workout you say you're going to do, right? To actually go to bed at the time you say you want to go to sleep at and help you manage your stress better.
And then also then provide empowerment to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I
Yep.
love it. I
Empowering yourself
love it.
through that self-talk too. Yep.
What about clothing? What role does clothing play in how we feel during the holidays?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So I feel like, um with hormones and maybe having like, for example, with PCOS, a lot of women may struggle with like having excess weight, especially around the abdomen and having difficulty losing that. And a lot of times we try to maybe, fall into, oh, this is like the trending style nowadays. But I realized from my own journey that it doesn't matter what that is if it doesn't look good on me, right? Like we all have different body types and like I just recently learned what are the types of clothes that fit well for me. And so like once you feel comfortable in your own clothes, it helps you feel comfortable in your skin, right? It makes you feel confident in yourself and how you present yourself. You don't want to feel like uncomfortable because that just shows. And then even feel self-conscious about those parts of your body that, you don't want people to maybe notice, but then if you're trying to wear the trending styles, then it may just show even more and not make you not feel good about yourself.
I totally agree. And I also think there's just too much social media influence on people think how people think about body types and size and everything. And it's hard. It's like it's also another aspect like increased stress. So like I could see that if you
Exactly.
figure out something makes you feel comfortable, then you can kind of avoid all these extra unnecessary stress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like we can't control everything or what other people do, but hey, we can control the clothes we wear and how we feel in them.
Absolutely. Now coming to like reclaiming sort of health during the holidays, how important is movement during the holidays? And then like, what are some ways to sneak it in? Because people gets busy during the holidays.
Yeah, yeah. So movement, I feel like it's really good not just for physical well-being, but also mental well-being, stress reduction. So movement has a lot of positive benefits to it. And I think, for some people, it's a lifestyle that, hey, like for me, like if I don't work out for more than like 3 days, I'm like, oh, something just feels off. Like I kind of just feel really sluggish and just like weighed down. And so once I like do a workout, even if it's like 20 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like myself again. And so it's like things will get busy, but prioritizing it and being intentional about it in some ways that you can realistically do that is like, for example, if you have a gathering at your house or you're going somewhere, you can encourage people like, for example, Thanksgiving is next week. So, if everyone has their Thanksgiving meal, you could just be like, hey, let's all like clean up together and then maybe go for a walk outside if that's possible, depending on where you live and all of that. Or, maybe doing some sort of like movement around the house in a way that, even if it's like 15 minutes, that's still better than eating everything and then just like sitting on the sofa and trying to let it digest, right? So that's one thing. And then if you're traveling, then you can take like resistance bands. I really love traveling with resistance bands. They're super lightweight. You can like probably hold them all within your hand like this. So they don't take up any weight, but they're very like, don't misjudge them because you can definitely get a good workout with resistance bands. And one thing I like to do if I'm traveling with other people and I'm staying in a hotel with them, then like I always like get up at the same time as them and I tell them like, okay, you finish using the bathroom, you shower first. And in that time, I tell them like I make myself work out, like even if it's 15 minutes, like it's still better than nothing, right? So just use that time for yourself, get your workout in. YouTube is a great resource, right? You can look up resistance band workouts, you could do yoga, you can find any type of workout you enjoy on YouTube. So it's about carving out that time and, going back to perfectionism, like say that we try to work out, 45 minutes or an hour on a regular basis. But if we may not be able to do that, that doesn't mean we shouldn't do anything. Like literally 15 minutes is still 10 minutes is still better than not doing anything. And so don't strive to do like the full hour, 45 minutes if you can't do it. But if you can do 10, 15 minutes, you'll still feel good physically and mentally.
Wow, these are such good tips. I felt like these like every time with exercise, it's like kind of a struggle, but I know like if I start, I would feel really good after. And then so it's like,
Really.
okay, just get started and then just overcome that hurdle.
I totally agree. I mean, it's like starting is the hardest part. Once you're there, like whether it's like it's cold, it's snowing, it's raining, and you're trying to go to the gym or something, right? Once you get there, it's like, okay, I'm here, might as well just work out, right? But it's like the whole like, yeah, but I could do this, or it's just not. I'd rather just stay in bed. Oh, I have this to do, I have that to do, right? It's like we put those obstacles or excuses in front of us. But yeah, I agree. The hardest part is getting there. And then, so making it realistic, right? Like maybe if the gym is not possible, just doing some sort of movement at home, anything that you can manage. And you live in a world where lots of free resources out there. And so, yep, absolutely. Do a
And
YouTube video.
yeah, and also echoing on what you said, like be realistic and then just incorporate as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then there's actually like really solid research showing that any movement is better than no movement. Even if you just like move, yeah, 15 minutes, it's still better than nothing. And then if you don't have time to move during the week, even if you just be a weekend warrior, that still like helps.
Yeah. Yeah, I never heard of that weekend warrior. I like that. Yeah, yeah. And then, it's like around the holidays, try to include other people into it, make it fun.
Fun.
It doesn't have to feel like a chore, right? It could be like, hey guys, let's all do like yoga together or yeah. I mean, even you can get chair workouts, like you can just YouTube like chair workouts and then It tells you like different things you can do sitting on your chair. Like it doesn't have to be intense at all. The point is whatever helps you feel good physically, mentally.
I'm gonna bring that resistant band when I'm traveling. I was like, I never thought about it. It's like, yes, it's like totally small and doesn't weigh anything, and it can be stuck somewhere, and an easy access. You can just do it.
Exactly, exactly. Honestly, like when I tell my clients, even like when I started working out with them, I was like, it's just like a rubber band. Like, how much can I really get a workout from it? But you really can. You really can. You can get a great workout. They have many different resistance levels, so it's good. Give it a go and let me know what you think.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. What about some tips avoiding overeating during the holidays, especially at parties? Like that's always a struggle for me.
Yeah, overeating. Yeah, that used to be a struggle for me too. Especially because like I love to try different foods and desserts, right? So then it's like, oh, I've never had this, or this is homemade, or this is like a special dish just around the holidays. And so what I started to do, and this is a great tip, like I tell my clients too, is take a little bit of everything that you want to try, and then you can always go back and get seconds. Whereas before, it's like I would just take a decent portion of everything, and then next thing you know, my plate is full, and I feel guilty about throwing things out, so I would just eat it. But so one realistic tip is, take a very small, like, tasting sampler of everything, and then you can always go back and get seconds, thirds. So that's one thing. The other thing is, like, for example, I was saying that I'm vegetarian, so sometimes there's not always like vegetarian food, or if you have dietary restrictions, or if you're trying to be mindful in a way that, you don't want to overeat or indulge in certain foods, but you can always take like a snack with you or eat a little bit before you go. And that will just help with you being more mindful of your choices. Like sometimes if I go to parties where I'm hungry, then I just eat like crackers and cheese. And I'm like, why am I eating crackers and cheese? I could have just eaten like what I wanted to eat at home. And then I could just have like dessert or something else, right? But it's like if you just end up making choices you don't want to make when you're super hungry. So just being prepared with the backup plan, whether it's a snack or eating before you go. And then it slipped my mind. What was the other thing I was going to say? Okay, I'll say it when it comes back. But yeah, those are a couple of things.
I completely agree. If you know that party is probably gonna have nutritious or nutrient dense food, it's probably good to have some at home so you don't overeat. Um, like I finally learned that it's like the easiest way is sort of like, okay, have hard boiled egg like before you go. So first you have you have your protein in, which then because I have a sweet tooth, I love dessert. Like if I see dessert, I'm going for the dessert. But if like I feel better if I actually had a hard boiled egg first, I wouldn't eat that much dessert, and it also helps tapering down my blood sugar levels if I just go for dessert later, and I wouldn't eat
What?
that much.
Yeah, exactly. And then the tip I remembered was sometimes people like they skip meals or not eat the whole day just because they know there's this party coming up. Yeah. But I would recommend not to do that for like a few reasons, like you said, right? Especially people that may have like insulin sensitivity or blood sugar um sensitivity, then you'll get really hungry by the time the party happens, right? Your blood sugar will be really low, and then you end up just eating anything that's in front of you, and that could lead to overeating. And yeah, it's better if you still just eat your regular meals and then have like a decent amount of portion that you usually eat at the party or social gathering.
Absolutely. I think it's also like super rare to find someone with your background, being a pharmacist, have, self-experienced all these, really explored
Yeah.
the best way of dealing with this, and then also have this heal method. So how can someone work with you?
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, so right now I do actually have a Black Friday special going on. So in the special, I do a 55-minute consultation, and it's personalized one-to-one consultation, and we incorporate the heal method. So you will walk away with 5 tips on one tip for sleep, stress, nutrition, exercise, and mindset for $55. And yeah, so the special runs through Monday, December 2nd, and it's limited to 5 people. So that's a taste of what it's like to work with me, but I do have different offers such as a longer 2 to 6 month consulting program that can help transform your whole life and your whole health. But yeah, if you want to connect with me, you can DM me for more information. And then I have lots of free resources, not only on Instagram, but also YouTube and podcast. And you can also find all of that in the links in my bio.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing everything. And until next time.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. I loved our conversation, and I hope you enjoy the holidays as well. And let me know how those resistance workouts go.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna remember these tips, brain resistant bed, and like making sure I don't overindulge and also don't skip meals before that big holiday meal.
Yeah, let me know how it goes. And then, like, for anyone, if you have questions after the live, you can leave it in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you again for this opportunity to chat.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.